Self-inquiry is just debugging the mind. Many of you, especially software engineers, must be familiar with the term debugging. Debugging is a process of identifying and removing errors from computer hardware or software. When a computer program is developed, sometimes there can be errors in them. They are usually called bugs. These bugs will cause the program to run incorrectly. The expected results will not be achieved. And if the program is associated with GUI, meaning graphical user interface, that is, display on screens, and if there are bugs in the program, then the images that are displayed could all be distorted or messed up or simply wrong. These software bugs can be really very simple, such as a missed comma, a colon, a bracket, a parenthesis, and so on. Or the source code could be wrong. And when there is a bug, one has to search the program, sometimes step by step, and find out where the bug resides, remove it, and fix the program. On the other hand, sometimes a bug can be deep-rooted. It can be hiding in the very depths of the program. It may take hours or days or weeks to look for it and find it, and then it is eliminated. Thus, an in-depth search for a bug in software, locating it, finding it, and removing it is called debugging. The process of self-inquiry is also debugging in a special sense, because this debugging is not done in a computer program or software. This is debugging the mind or searching within, which can be called inner quest. For a person, life goes on. Everything is happening by itself. You go to sleep, and in deep sleep you are absolutely peaceful. After a good night's sleep, you wake up feeling refreshed. Then something very subtle, a little whirl, a thought twirl, rises in your mind. This is referred to as the ego or the I thought or the individual self. This is opposed to the real self. The ego can be likened to the bug of the computer program. The ego is very deep-rooted, and just like a computer software bug makes the program run incorrectly and produce incorrect results and also display distorted images, because of the ego, wrong and distorted images of the world and its activities are seen, and this causes great agitation, agony, unhappiness, and misery in the life of the individual. When the individual sees that there is something wrong with the way the program of life is running, the person starts wondering and pondering as follows: I want to be happy all the time. All I want is happiness. Everything I do is for happiness. That means happiness must be my real nature. But I don't experience it. Why is that? What is wrong? What is the cause? Thus one starts thinking deeply. Some spiritually highly evolved rare beings, when they have this predicament, they immediately inquire deeply within. They quickly discover the problem, eliminate it, and abide in perennial bliss. In other words, they figure out that they have been dancing to the tunes of the ego thief. They find out that this ego ghost that creates all the disturbing thoughts is false, and it is showing all wrong pictures of the world. They rediscover their real, eternal, happy self. But others who are not that evolved spiritually as these sages, they seek the help and guidance of a sage who has already solved the problem. The sage, out of extreme compassion and kindness, gives out instructions to the seeker about what to do to realize one's true nature, the real self. And that is the process of self-inquiry, which is the same as debugging the mind. The reason I say self-inquiry is debugging, but in a special sense, is because when we debug a computer program, there is actually an error that you can find and eliminate. But in an individual, the bug, the ego, does not really exist. The ego is a ghost. So, when we debug the mind through self-inquiry, we have to delve deep within and keenly look from where the I thought or the ego arises. We look for the source of the ego or the I thought, and it will be found that the ego is false and it does not exist. And when the ego disappears, the real self will be found to be self-shining. When the ego vanishes, the real self will reveal itself. Once this is accomplished, the program of life will run bug-free. All the actions will go on without the interference of the ego bug. Distorted images of life will not be shown any longer. Life and its experiences will be seen in the right perspective, and happiness and peace will prevail. Therefore, self-inquiry is debugging the mind, finding that the ego is false, and realizing the self that is blissful and eternal.